Hi, I'm Mike Caspar from Weston Products. Today I'm going to talk to you about a couple of our brand new products, a 4-tray round dehydrator and a 7.5 inch meat slicer. I'm going to show you how to use them to make some amazing venison jerky. The first thing you want to do when you're making jerky is, well, first of all, figure out what kind of meat you want to use, or what cut of meat you want to use. This is a tip roast. Any roast is going to do the trick. So it comes down to personal preference. But once you figure that out, the first thing you want to do is trim as much fat off of it as you possibly can. Fat and jerky don't go well together. The more fat you have in it, the greater chance that it's going to become rancid once you're storing it for long periods of time. But the good news about venison, it is by nature pretty lean meat. Once that's done, as you can see, I got most of this off. Once that's done, it's time to slice it. Now you can just use a regular old butcher knife. There's all sorts of different jerky slicers on the market. We sell a few different ones. Today we're going to use this our new 7.5 inch meat slicer. When you're slicing meat for jerky, you want to get it between 1/8 of an inch thick and 1/4 inch thick, because if you do it too thin, it's going to get real hard and it's basically going to end up being like cardboard. And then if you make it too thick, it's going to take forever in the dehydrator or in the smoker to dry out. So you want to get it between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 inch thick. Our slicer, there's an adjustment knob on the back, so you can adjust it to the exact size that you want. So we're just going to turn it on. It's really easy to use, just slide it through. So basically the meat just comes right out the back, perfect strips, exactly the size, is about 1/4 inch thick strips, and we're ready to start seasoning. One of my favorite recipes for jerky, I actually came across on the Food Network website. It's an Alton Brown recipe. It's a basic jerky recipe. He uses honey, red pepper flakes, Worcestershire sauce, some soy sauce, some onion powder. It's just all those great flavors come together and just make one of my favorite recipes for jerky. If you're not going to use a smoker and you're going to actually use a dehydrator like we're going to use today, your jerky's not going to have that smoke flavor. So the one thing that this recipe does call for is liquid smoke, and you can buy this in a lot of different places. Any place that's going to sell the jerky seasonings or jerky making equipment usually will sell this. The last thing we're going to add, and I can't stress this enough, this is probably the most important part, and the recipe does not call for this, but anytime you're cooking jerky, it cooks at a low temperature, 150, 160 degrees for a long period of time, and at those low temperatures across that period of time, it creates a perfect environment for rapid bacteria growth. So in order to prevent that, what you need to do is add cure. Now, you can buy cure just about anywhere. Same places that sell the liquid smoke is going to have cure packs, and you just need to follow the instructions on the cure package to determine how much you need to add. The cure pack that we're using today calls for we're going to use 2 pounds of meat, and it calls for 2 tablespoons of cure. So we're just going to add that right into the marinade and mix it up. And then what we're going to do next is we are going to, using a vacuum sealer, our vacuum sealer bag, we are going to add the meat. We're just going to put it right into the bag, just like that. And I'm going to pour the marinade over it, hopefully without spilling it all over myself. And then using our vacuum sealer, we're just going to seal the bag up, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator. And in order for the cure to do its job, you need to let it sit in the refrigerator for 24 hours. And not only will that let the cure do its job, but it'll also give it plenty of time for the seasonings that are in the marinade to penetrate through, and you'll end up having a really flavorful product at the end. Once your jerky's had a chance to marinate and cure for 24 hours, it's ready. We're ready to get it ready to put in the dehydrator. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to open the bag up, open our vac bag up, and Now, because we're using a liquid marinade, it's going to be important to kind of dry it off as much as you can before you put it in the dehydrator. Because if you put it in and it's really, really wet, it's going to take a lot longer for the jerky to dehydrate. So we have some paper towels laid out here. We're just going to take this meat and lay it out on the paper towels, spread it all out. The paper towels on the bottom will start to absorb the marinade on the bottom of the pieces. And then once that's done, we're ready for the dehydrator. Now, as I mentioned before, we're going to be using the new Weston 4-tray round dehydrator. One of the great things about this, you can see, it's pretty small and compact. So compared to using a smoker, it's a lot more portable, a lot more convenient. The other big difference between using a dehydrator and a smoker is when you're using a dehydrator, you're going to be able to remove a lot more of the moisture from the meat than you would when you're using a smoker, and so the jerky's going to last a lot longer. You'll be able to store it for months at a time as opposed to weeks at a time when you're using a smoker. So the other great thing about this dehydrator is we designed it specifically for jerky. So it's extremely simple and foolproof to use. You basically, there's one button, and that's to turn it on. And you basically turn it on, and you can forget about it. So what we're going to do is, like I said, it comes with 4 trays, and they're stackable. So we're going to take them all off but the bottom one, and we're going to lay this out, spread this out on the bottom tray first. And then once that's filled up, we'll take the next tray and fill it up. And as you can see, we're only going to be able to fill up 2 trays of the dehydrator. So the other great thing about this is if you're not using all the trays, you don't need to use them all. You can just put the lid on the first 2. And when you're doing a smaller batch like this, it has, there's less space for, to heat up, and so you're gonna be able to finish your jerky in a quicker amount of time. So again, you're just gonna turn it on. Great thing is you're gonna be able to just forget about it, come back and check on it every couple hours. And what I usually do is I'll take, after about 4 hours or so, if some pieces seem to be like they're starting to get done, I'll take a little bite or tear it open so you can see if it's actually getting done or not. And then once it's done to your liking, you're ready to go. So hopefully that gave you a good idea of how easy it really is to make your own jerky at home. If you need a copy of the recipe or have any questions as you're going through this yourself, we'd be happy to help you. You can find us at blog.westonproducts.com or at facebook.com/westonproducts.